Friends, in this episode of our popular awareness series on diversity and harmony, we'll be talking of how to struggle for peace, how to bring in efforts which unite the society, how to work for amity and positive sentiments towards each other in the society. In other words, how to strengthen the fraternity, which is the foundation of Indian nation, which is the foundation of our constitution. So far in earlier episodes we saw that how different facets are there, which I will like to say that currently the Hindu nationalist politics has become very strong. It has been ruling the country from last many years, and not only ruling, it has been changing the fundamental nature of our political structure. So whatever we have discussed in other episodes, I would like to put that there are 4 or 5 stages through which this politics becomes stronger. Now today we see that communal politics has become very stronger despite economic setbacks. It tries to rouse nationalist feelings, emotive feelings, and through violence, which is orchestrated through violence which comes because of hate which in turn is based on the negative perceptions of the other community. Like particularly in India, Muslims and Christians are regarded as the other, and there are many perceptions which have been cultivated. So if I want to make a strong step, a small step, I will put it this way, that at the bottom, at the base are the misconceptions, stereotypes, biases and myths about the religious minorities, that is Muslims and Christians, which we discussed in the initial episodes. Now, because of these misconceptions which have been deepened through communal historiography introduced by British, through communal politics which does this through their shakhas and through their different efforts, through media, through section of the books, this misconception is now become very strong. There's an add-on to these misconceptions when America, in pursuit of global control over oil, propped up Al-Qaeda, and then American media coined a term Islamic terrorism. So these are the very base on which hate against religious communities is brought up. Hate against religious community is made stronger. Because of this hate, the communal political party is able to orchestrate the communal violence. And when the communal violence is orchestrated, there is a polarization of society, and some scholars, and particularly lately what came forward was the research result of Yale University of US, a very reputed university. Similar results have earlier been told by people like Dr. Asghar Ali Engineer, Paul Bross, and Omar Khalidi, and even MJ Akbar when he was not in BJP. Similar conclusions were drawn by them. What is this conclusion which has lately come from Yale University? That in the area where communal violence takes place, over a period of time, BJP becomes electorally strong. When BJP becomes electorally strong, it has the roots in RSS, and when it becomes strong, it strengthens its roots further. So that's where we are trapped at the moment. So ultimately, we have analyzed it so much. The point is, how should we change the society? And that's the basic challenge which we as human rights workers, we as the workers committed to peace, amity, harmony, non-violence, Indian nationalism, Indian constitution, what should be our role? I feel our first task is that we should try to combat these misconceptions against the religious minorities. Misconceptions against the religious minorities. I must say, no community, no all people of any community are good. No all people of any community are bad. There are good people, there are bad people in all the communities, and by picking up some things from the past, from the kingdoms, how are the King's Act reflected upon today's Muslims? Today's Muslims are not responsible for what the Muslim kings did, whatever be its interpretation. As such, we try to show the interpretation of these events is not due to religion. It is due to lust for power, lust for wealth, that Hindu kings, Muslim kings operated in a particular way. So first, all the misconceptions which have been developed on history, because of the present life of the Muslim community, because of the global propaganda about Islam, which has caused Islamophobia, these have to be combated. How do we combat it? We have sufficient material which has already come in the form of books, good books, popular books, pocket books and others. This one mechanism. Then there is a series of posters available on it, and lately if we see that many people have brought out not only posters but other very lucid material to combat these particular perceptions. Just to add on to the list of material which we can use, we have a lot of YouTube videos. We have a lot of good series, only two series I will mention here. One series is by Sohail Hashmi, Hindustan Ki Kahani, which gives the syncretic interactive culture of India, celebrated culture of India. Second is a very deep, insightful series by Anand Patwardhan, Vivek Reason, which runs into 16 episodes and takes up different aspects of communal politics in India. Apart from this, there are films by Anand Patwardhan, Rakesh Sharma, Saeed Mirza, and many of them which I will not make a total list. And even there are YouTube videos made by people like us who target the negative perceptions about minorities, who try to talk of peace and the values which were the values of freedom movement. So this is one thing. This has to be done through community work in our localities, community work in schools, colleges, places of work, and through these mechanisms we have to promote the positive values, the syncretic culture of India. Now this has to be of course supplemented by lectures, seminars, and here it is very important that we try to set up small peace center type activities in different parts of the country. Country is very big. In each area we do need a volunteer, we need a team of volunteers, we need a team of volunteers who are trained, who understand, whose understanding is shaped by rationality, love, affection and values of peace. Through these volunteers, Peace Center mans itself, promotes cultural activities like regular screening of films in the area, programs of songs of peace, like one I must say Charul Bharwada and Vijay Mahajan's series on Insan Hai Hum, the classic secular anthem of which says Mandir Masjid Girja Ghar mein बांट लिया भगवान को, धरती बांटी सागर बांटा, मत बांटो इंसान को. So in these peace centers there can be regular fortnightly activities where people can present their talks, people can sit to discuss the contemporary communal issue, and people can have a fortnightly screening of YouTube videos, films and other cultural programs which can be encouraged. In every city, people can have diversity walks. Diversity walks. What are these diversity walks? Like volunteers here go from one place of worship to another, one place of historical importance to another, and try to see in its history how Hindu Muslims both, how Hindu Christians have contributed to these places which so much exist in India and whose history some people are trying to erase and trying to present through a very skewed angle. So these peace centers, I think, peace centers and training of volunteers, understanding by those who want to have peace, understanding in a rational way the values of Bhakti tradition, the value of Sufi tradition. These are very important hallmarks of India's culture. Like in India's culture, Bhakti saints, Sufi saints, they talked in the language of religion, but they were connected to the people, they celebrated with the people, they used the moral aspects of religion to combine, to unite the society into the stronger bonds with each other. So these values, then values of our freedom movement, where people like Mahatma Gandhi, Maulana Azad, Bhagat Singh, Ambedkar, they put forward the Indian identity and the identity that we are all Indians in the big first, and this Indianness which gets reflected in our Indian constitution, those values have to be reiterated, repeated and imbibed as far as we are concerned. So these are the awareness programs which basically should come through volunteers like us, which should come through some informal peace centers. Now the second thing is that in community, the lot of hatred has been generated. These walls of hatred have to be broken and bridges of peace have to be built. Now these bridges of peace, I think, can be built through interaction of the communities, through social aspects of festivals. Social aspect of festivals, what do I mean by that? I mean that festivals have two components. One are religious rituals. Second are celebratory. Now the celebratory aspect of festivals, be it Diwali, Eid, Christmas or other things, they should be jointly celebrated by people of different religions. Then we have to create new festivals also. These festivals are the anniversaries of the great people who contributed to making of India, like Bhagat Singh, Ambedkar, Gandhi, Maulana Azad and many of them. So these should be our new festivals. Their anniversaries should be our new festivals which are celebrated jointly, where we affirm, we pledge that India is a secular, democratic, socialist, sovereign republic. And this we have to propagate. The preamble of Indian Constitution, which sums up the whole Constitution in its entirety, has to be explained to people, has to be reached to people so that they can take up these values, internalize these values and try to work on that. Now with this, we also have to see that the country has been battered by series of communal violence. It may be exodus of Kashmiri Pandits or the internal migration of lakhs of Muslims in their own cities, or it may be the suffering of Sikh victims in 1984 violence. All of them deserve justice. All of them deserve a dignified rehabilitation. So we should think of those things at popular level. The next point which I suggest, that today we need to support and promote the social movements which are meant for the dignity and rights of Dalits, women, workers, Adivasis and average farmers and average people of the country. Now these social movements which are meant to get the march, these movements which are supposed to march towards the path of equality, on the path of Indian Constitution, they need to be promoted, they need to be associated with. And all of us who believe in secularism, pluralism, diversity, harmony, peace, non-violence, all of us, we have to come together in a single platform, single national platform, which need not be a organizational unity, which has to be programmatic unity. Like as far as program is concerned, opposing hate is concerned, opposing violence is concerned, we all raise our voice in the together in a manner which is uniting us, and through these efforts we work for uniting India, which has been battered, the idea which has been battered by Hindu nationalism during last few years in a very, very bad way. So I hope, friends, this whole series which we have tried to trace the roots of communal politics, and I must reiterate here that Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru had pointed out that all types of communalism is bad, majority communalism as well as minority communalism. So one is not exonerating minority communalism, but as Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru points out, majority communalism threatens the democracy of the country. It threatens to impose a rule in the name of religion, while minority communalism, though bad, it comes as a separatism and it can't destroy our democratic foundations. So while criticizing both the types of communalism, our focus has to be on the different steps which I have outlined, and I'm sure if more and more of us give some time for this type of a work, our national integration, our social integration, our syncretic traditions, our values of Sufi tradition, values of Bhakti tradition, these will flourish and they will take us to a path of peace and progress in the country. Thank you very much.